and welcome to another episode of Worst Collection Ever. This is the show where we tell you about the worst comic book collection in existence, and it just happens to belong to us. I'm Jen.
I'm Sean.
And we are back after a hiatus.
We're back after a week off.
A week off.
I was ill.
Hiatus in quotes.
Yeah, it happens. I feel like it's been happening every year for the past couple of years, where at one point around this time of the year, I get like this summer virus.
Yeah. That
really like kicks my ass.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, usually I'll get like a fever. And because it's weird too, because when you get sick, you never get fevers.
No, it's not something I do.
But I tend to get fevers.
Yep.
And, you know, I just feel real shitty. And it just, and I also have been super congested, because usually what I feel too also is like after I get done being sick or whatever's done going through my body, like after it just leaves like this trail of like a cold.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like congested and stuff like that. You know, so it's all obviously, you know, not very important news, but it was enough for me. Well, this was the thing, it messed me up because I was sick on Monday. And I was sick on Sunday.
Yeah,
I got sick on Sunday because I'm sitting there. I wasn't feeling well on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And the intention was we were going to record some episodes.
Yeah.
Because later that week,
you were supposed to get surgery.
I was supposed to have I was supposed to have some dental surgery that's going to actually put me out for a while. And I was like, okay, we'll record some episodes. And we'll cover that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got sick and I couldn't do anything. And so, I thought I was still going to be ready in time for the procedure. You know, I thought I was going to still have the procedure. And I think about it was like Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. I was like, this isn't going to work. Because I was just going to be less than 100%. I mean, I know it's not always an option.
Sure.
You know, for some people.
But when
like,
it is.
Like, you know, what?
But when it is.
But when it is, yeah. You know, I mean, so yeah, thankfully it was an option where I was like, I don't want to have to deal with this right now. And potentially not have one thing go well versus the other. And I just didn't feel it was the right time to do it. So I had to reschedule it. So
yeah.
So we'll have to plan for when those come up to actually record some episodes and put those in the can. So hi.
After that very long explanation. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello. Hope you're all doing well. Thanks for understanding. If you guys are still around. I mean,
sorry.
It's weird. I hate doing this. You know, I hate doing that sort of thing. But you know, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick though, just wanted to first of all, give out our socials or the ways you can check out the show and everything. worstcollectionever@gmail.com is our email address. So please do email us and let us know what you think of the show. If you have any comments about anything we talk about here on this program, would be really appreciated. And you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter, X at Angry Hero Sean.
And I'm at Jen Stansfield on the things.
Yeah, same thing. Blue Sky, Threads, you know, whatever it is that you're farting around on. Please, you know, engage with us there if you see us there, and just tell us what you think of the show, or you know, feel free to talk. You know, I mean, we're chipper people.
Are we?
No.
Yeah, I was going to say you might be chipper. I'm not a chipper person.
Rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and all that stuff. Spotify, you know, wherever you get your podcasts, please check us out there. And of course, YouTube on Angry Hero 79 is my YouTube. That's where there is a playlist of all of the most recent episodes of Worst Collection Ever. You can find it if you subscribe to that, or you can just subscribe to the playlist. You don't have to necessarily subscribe to my channel. You should just be able to subscribe to that playlist and get the new episodes every week if that's your desired method of listening to our show. So that'd be really cool. Before we get to the book, I just wanted to talk real quick about, we just finished watching a documentary about the Lollapalooza.
Yeah, it's called Lolla, and it's on Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. You watched it before I could.
Yes.
I'm actually kind of grateful that it was only 3 episodes.
Yeah, I feel like it was the perfect length, because if they had stretched it out anymore, I'd have been like, there's nothing here.
Well, it's really not, once you got past like the second episode and you're talking about like the back, because Lollapalooza only went on for like, was really only strong for like maybe 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, as like an actual festival, you know, touring festival. And then, and then they went dark. They had a few of them that came back in the mid-aughts, which they don't even talk about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I don't know what happened there. What those look like? I'll have to go back and look and see what was on those shows, because those probably weren't any good.
No.
It was probably like, new metal bands like, like Nothing Face and
Nothing Face
and Scream Boys and Jet. Probably those bands around. There's probably like that kind of phase with like the Jet and the Nickelback. No, Nickelback probably wasn't on there.
You think Limp Bizkit might have been on there?
No, Limp Bizkit. No, maybe 03.
Yeah, maybe they
had an album in 03.
Yeah.
So they might have squeezed on there, but they talk about like the history of it and everything, and it just makes me more nostalgic and more longing more for the culture of music
the way
then,
it used to be.
the way it used to be, and how like you had the general zeitgeist of, I feel like there was a point in the 90s, maybe just before the new millennium, that like pop music and like hip hop and rock music all kind of had like these really strong footholds.
Yeah.
Of popularity. Because it's always kind of, I feel like it's always been a thing where people look back at the 90s and they go, oh man, well, everybody loved that rock music in the 90s. And then people were like, we're tired of being angry. Let's like pop music.
And now it's time for the Backstreet Boys.
And that's time for the Backstreet Boys. And then everybody was like, all right, you know what? Now it's just like hip hop for like ever.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. That's the biggest thing. I mean, it's just how it is,
Watching the, first Lollapalooza was what, 1992? Obviously, we were both too young to go to that at that time. But I
didn't go to my first concert in 98, so.
I didn't go until 94. No, 95. It was literally the day after my 15th birthday. So 95. But yeah, I just, looking at that lineup in 92, that was fucking fire.
Mm-hmm.
Susie and the Banshees, which, I love. Fucking Nine Inch Nails. Rollins. Body Count. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I would have lost my shit to see all those bands. At the same time, I can't. And then like the next year was like, I don't even know who the Tool eventually shows up. Fucking Rage. Like, I'm like, God, this is fucking amazing. But
it was like Pearl Jam or something.
Pearl Jam and Soundgarden were the next year. I don't know. It's just kind of like one of those things where it's like, it used to actually be like a separate culture. Like these little music, hip hop culture or
it was
grunge
a separate culture,
whatever. Yeah. There were all these like little separate siloed cultures, and the advent of the internet has kind of destroyed all of that.
I feel like, and it feels too like, it's just a quick generalization.
Yeah.
You have all the old nostalgia people.
Like us
down here. You have all the people that love popular music that are here. And popular music means like so much different shit.
Yeah, and I love some popular. There's popular music I fucking love.
It's like you got Imagine Dragons and BB Rexa and Offset and
fucking
all these groups.
Lil Nas X and
that's just music now. And then you have like country music people.
Yes.
Country music, which is another, even though country music,
and even now, because country has been siloed for so long. But then you get people like Lil Nas X who comes up with Billy Ray Cyrus, or you get Beyonce doing her whole album. So you are starting to see that like more mainstream crossover.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the mainstream crossover for country has always been a big deal. I'll drive along and I'll look at like the upcoming shows, and you'll see something like at the Mile High Stadium. Yeah, it'll be like, there's some guy coming, some country guy. Is it
not Travis Tritt?
No, it's not Travis. No, that's the thing. It's we're already past that. Like,
no, I know, but I remember hearing his name. But he is a country guy.
Yeah, like just this country guy, and he's coming, and it's a stadium, and I'm like, it's just a guy. Why does everybody like? How come why don't I like this stuff? Like, why don't I? Am I not proliferated with it? I mean, maybe. I think it's because we, as a culture now, are able to get music whenever we want and any way we want.
Yep.
And we don't have to be subjected to just a handful of stations.
Yes, which is both good and bad.
Yeah.
because yeah, you get to listen to whatever the fuck you want, which means you can like have a crazy, you can go find anything, whatever it is, you can find new music all the time. But it also,
I could choose to find new music and be a new music guy and have a whole connection to everything. Like I could be that person.
You could totally be that person.
I just don't want to.
Well, that's the thing. Or you stay siloed and you miss maybe something that would have been played on the radio, back in the 90s, you don't hear anymore. Or maybe on MTV during TRL, you don't see that video anymore.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to fucking go to YouTube and look it up. Or
just watching like MTV in general. Like there'd just be times that was the thing before when MTV used to play videos on the reg.
Mm-hmm.
Back when that kind of culture, in order to get the new music you wanted and hear different stuff that you didn't know if you'd be exposed to, you'd have to watch a show like that. Watch MTV. Now it's like you don't have to do that, so that's why they don't show videos anymore. Just, I was also thinking about it. It just made me think about that watching that documentary. Also, that documentary too. The one thing that kind of I kind of wish they maybe explained more about it. Just kind of how we talked about it.
Yeah,
talking about like the change in music and like why it makes more sense to create, to embrace and promote this, the new popular scene as opposed to just being like, hey, this is about not selling out and it's about like these underground acts and we're going to do this. And
I think you kind of start to see that clash when they talk about it in the documentary where it's like, oh yeah, whoever it was is playing to 800 people on the main stage. Well, but on the small stage in the parking lot, fucking Coolio's got 18,000.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when you start seeing that, like, this might be what, because it's Perry Farrell, helping program the whole thing because it's always been his festival. So he's been like, this is the band that I love. But meanwhile, like, maybe people haven't caught up to it yet with like the electronic music or whatever. So everybody else is like on this other band that's like on the small stage. And I think you also saw that happen when, in 96, when they were talking about Metallica, like Perry Farrell got so mad that they booked Metallica of all fucking bands to get mad about.
Well, it's just kind of the thing too, where he talks about it, and I think it was Tom Morello there that talks about it, where he's like it's the punk guilt.
Yes,
which I often think about all the time when you hear about if you hear from comedians a lot of times where it's like yeah man, nobody wants to fucking deal with me, my comedy, and all those fucking weird alt indie comic, I use quotations, from the 90s and the 2000s. And now it's like they end up in like these TV shows and doing all that stuff. And it's like, well, I'm just doing it so I can make the money to do the things I really want.
Right.
That those things nobody want to watch.
Right. You're trying to basically be like, when I was younger, I said I'd never sell out, and here I am selling out.
But I'm selling out because.
But there's no other choice these days.
But the problem that's the thing. Like you need to.
You have to. Spotify plays aren't going to pay your bills.
You need to make money to pay your bills. Like that's a thing, like where some, and I bet they probably didn't really talk about it much. They didn't really get to it much for a reason, where they're talking to Perry Farrell about like, those guys, those concert promoters come in and they're like, hey, let's do Lollapalooza like this. And Perry Farrell's, he's automatically just goes in and be like, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a lot of it where he was just like, wait, so we're just gonna book like all these like big name acts for like 2 days, and we're gonna make it's like, and I'm just gonna slap my name, I'm gonna be okay with it.
Yeah,
like I'm sure it wasn't easy, but then again, he even says I needed money.
Yeah,
it's like Perry Farrell can't be Perry Farrell unless you're Perry Farrell,
right? Exactly.
So there you go. But yeah, man, it's wild.
Cool though, because like they do talk to certain people, like obviously Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. They talked to Perry Farrell, obviously. They talked to Trent Reznor. Who else? They talked to what's her name from Babes in Toyland. They talked to somebody from L7.
Lars Ulrich.
Lars. Our buddy Lars. Oh, Lars.
There's Lars,
who has lived in this country for so long, but still has a very slight accent. Because wasn't he born in like?
Yeah, he's Danish.
Dutch or something,
he's
right?
Danish.
Yeah, and he came over here when he was younger. I think he was like 7 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, he still has that slight accent. It's fun. I mean, you get to see like fucking Lady Gaga playing some shitty ass stage at 1 p.m. and then 3 years later, she's the goddamn headliner. So
yeah,
stuff like that's pretty cool. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I don't think at my advanced age I would be a festival person anymore. I mean, I went to Ozfest, but
Yeah, I've done my shit.
that was in
I've done a few
'97.
festivals. I don't like festivals.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I do remember when I went to Ozfest, which was great because it was the year they had Pantera, they had Typo Negative, they had Marilyn Manson, obviously Ozzy, they had somebody else. I don't remember. But we were really there for like Pantera, Typo Negative, and Marilyn Manson. That's who we were there to see. And we had seats on, because it was in the stadium, and we had seats on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so fucking hot. And of course I'm wearing black because, and I got a sunburn on my legs in the shape of my fishnets. So that was there for a while. That was a pretty good time. Yeah, good times. I can't do it anymore. I'm too fucking old. Yeah. I'd have to pay like the extra prices to get like the air conditioned VIP and the clean bathroom or whatever.
I would need to be catered.
Yeah,
like I can't do the like.
I like my conveniences in my old age.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like. That's the thing. I don't care about music enough to like suffer.
Well,
in a park in an open field.
Yeah, I don't want to get heat stroke because I'm fucking wearing goddamn black clothes and combat boots and getting a 3rd-degree sunburn on my leg. I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, just it needed to be talked about.
It did. It was fun.
It was an interesting documentary.
Yeah, check it out if you can.
Yeah. See, we're selling out too. We're selling out. I was like, watch Paramount Plus.
Oh God, yep. The only reason I have Paramount Plus personally is because Drag Race is on it, and I have to watch All Stars, obviously. But it is a shit platform for wankers. All I gotta say.
Batman wouldn't help them, so now the team's on their own. Black Lightning, Geoforce, Halo, Katana, Looker, Metamorpho. People of power with a new purpose. They are the Outsiders.
The Outcasters continues its coverage of The Outsiders, and Mike W. Barr's team for the 80s has big changes on the way. With a new home, a new title, and coming soon, the Baxter series. You can find the show on Right On Network with your favorite podcatcher, or listen at thehunterspodcast.com, and follow us on Twitter at @Outcasters. Because to live outside the law or on Twitter, you must be honest.
So, what are we reading this week?
So this week we are catching up on the Daredevil front. We're following up with the Marked for Death storyline, even though it's not really an official storyline, but it's just put together in a series of books in a trade paperback, so it technically will go, for our purposes, as a storyline. But this is Daredevil number 160 from September 1979. And last we left off, Daredevil, I believe, Daredevil's on the trying to figure out what's going on, like why people are trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And Bullseye is behind it, and he doesn't really know that, though. I don't think Daredevil knows that just yet, but
no, I don't believe he knows
that just
yet.
But Daredevil Bullseye is like, I'm about to buck some shit up.
Yeah.
So the cover on the book, though, is in the hands of Bullseye and on the front here, and this is an
amazing cover. By the way,
it's actually fantastic.
It's a very amazing cover.
It's it's a disheveled room, and Bullseye is holding.
Basically, he has a cord wrapped around Black Widow's neck, and
it's a hairdryer.
Yeah, it's a hairdryer. He's holding the hairdryer cord, and she's like slumped over because it's like wrapped around her neck.
Yeah.
And then there's a giant Daredevil head in the back room looking very angry.
Well, also, too, he's also got this thing where, and I don't know, I'm assuming this is like a broken window or something here. But just like his around his head, he's got like this yellow.
I thought that was him thinking about things. Like him bullseyeing.
I don't know. He doesn't bullseye.
Bullseyeing.
He doesn't bullseye.
I know he doesn't do that, but I was just like, maybe that's like the representation on the cover.
But it always reminds me of the, when you would look in like religious imagery, and anytime you would see
like Jesus,
but also
or Mary,
or any of like his homies. Sometimes the homies would have that around their head.
Sometimes the saints do, yeah.
Sometimes the saints do, but the bigger the ones they have, if somebody that has a bigger one, that's the bigger. Usually Jesus and them have the bigger ones. So but sometimes your saints just have like the little circle.
Yeah. So if it was like him and Peter hanging out, Peter's would not nearly be as big.
No, not big. But that's the cover. And no, this is confusing because They label this very first part as the epilogue.
Yeah,
I think this is this
odd.
backwards?
Maybe because at the very beginning we talk about the prologue. Like at the end we say prologue.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, wait, is this backward or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's confusing.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused, but
yeah. Black Widow though, we found out she was coming back last week.
Yep.
Last time we did an episode, she was announced in the newspaper. Very big deal. And she is whipping through like Spider-Man, I guess.
Yeah, she's just sort of looks like web slinging, but I'm assuming it's a rope.
That's what you just do.
Yeah.
If you're just web slinging, like not everybody can web sling like that. Like
if you are a cape and cowl in the Marvel universe and you're hanging out in New York, you have to swing from building to building. I don't care how you do it. You better figure it out.
Well, because they do that for like Daredevil too, where it's just like he needs to get from place to place. He's not just in the street having a walk, or he's not like on a motorcycle or something like that, or at least not all the time. He's just flinging himself from building to building.
Yeah, I mean you can rooftop jump sometimes depending on how close the buildings
she's
are.
Way up there.
Oh no, she's swinging, but like didn't Daredevil at one point, doesn't he have like in his cane there's like a
he's got the threads and
like a thread so he can basically use
like a
it
rope and stuff.
Yeah, basically kind of use it like Batman uses his thingy.
What Black Widow is using though, I don't know.
Oh no, we don't see that. All we know is she's jumping around and she like goes into her apartment and she's like, thinking about how, she's glad she's home, even though she needs to be like alone or blah, 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 whatever.
She has an apartment. She has a nice picture of apparently looks like the Duke Ferdinand or something. Just this random.
Oh yeah.
Says like, is this Lenin?
Maybe it might be Lenin. Maybe it's Stalin.
Stalin. I'm thinking.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's Gorbachev. We just can't see it because when was this? The 90s?
No, this is early. This is 79.
Oh, that's way too early.
Later in the other years, she replaces it with a Gorby pick.
Yeah, maybe that's what happens. Okay, we're not at Gorby yet.
No Gorbies.
So she's there, but guess who else is there with her? Oh my God, it's Bullseye, and they fight.
He just goes, "Hey, lovely night for a murder," and then he throws a hairbrush at her.
Yeah, and it shatters the mirror, which is pretty sweet
because he has a sick aim.
Yeah, and that
is Bullseye's move. He has sick aim.
I will say, this costume is not terrible.
Which one?
Bullseye's costume.
Bullseye's costume was very.
It's not terrible, but for some reason, when we got into those Spider-Man movies, remember when they did Bullseye? And it was Colin Farrell with like the bullseye like carved into his fucking forehead. That was terrible. I'm like, make him wear this. This is so much better.
No, they're just intent on that.
Only having one costume, I guess. One
costume. Probably it was a thing where they hire somebody and they don't want it to look like a suit. That's the thing is they'll do these movies.
Yeah.
And they'll make these costumes so that it doesn't look like a superhero costume.
But it should.
Yeah. But they don't want it to.
But that's dumb.
I know it is. I agree.
That's one thing I think that the Marvel movies did really well. Obviously the later iteration of Marvel, excluding like Spider-Man and stuff. Captain America, Iron Man, whatever. They all have pretty accurate costumes.
Yeah.
For the most part.
There's a few that are completely I'm trying to think of some at least in the MCU.
Yeah. I mean, like Thor looks like, Thor obviously. And
I'm trying to think of the ones that don't really work for me.
Oh, I'm sure there's ones that don't work. But I mean, like, if we're just talking about like, would you want Captain America to walk on screen like Bullseye does with like a fucking just like,
he has an A carved into his head?
No, either that or he's got like a big fucking flag tattooed on him and he's just like it's across his entire chest. So like when he goes in the thing and gets big, he comes out with just like a flag tattoo.
I have a note. Does he have to throw his shield? Can he swing his arm with a tattoo on it?
Yeah.
Of the American flag, and then that's what hits people because it's like he shoots out the essence of America from his arm. That's my note. Thank you.
That's great note.
I make $100,000 a year.
Yeah. Here's another note. Could he also have the entire Constitution tattooed on his back?
Yes.
Could he be that guy?
And his signature line is that he reads the entire Constitution.
Oh Jesus! Really?
Yes.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Oh my God!
All of it. All the signatures and everything. Yeah. Oh no, somebody has to come in and read it for him.
Oh God.
Because he's on his back.
That's what Bucky's job is.
Bucky's job is
just to read the Constitution off Captain America's back.
But yeah, so they're having a nice fight in this apartment here. It's actually really rad because it's just like a good closed quarters.
Yeah, I like when we're destroying.
Brawl.
Yeah, I like when we're like destroying shit.
Just keep it into the apartment. Don't match the buildings.
No.
Just fuck up your room.
Right, and they totally do. And then this is where he grabs the vase and he hits her in the head with it.
Oh, but this is also where we find out, and it gets destroyed here. She has a bust
of Daredevil's head.
And so like
I couldn't tell what that was because I didn't know if it was just like, you know, kind of like on the cover how there's a giant Daredevil head.
Yeah.
Where he's like there but not there, and I was like, is he like sensing this? But no, he's not. It's just apparently.
Is this thing? Is this like
that fucking
Lionel Richie video?
Yes, Lionel Richie video. That's exactly where I was going with that. Yes.
But he makes his own head because he's the blind person. Because the girl in the video
is the blind. Yes.
She makes Lionel Richie's head.
That's a really good question. I don't know. I'm assuming that Natasha saw that. Well, she can't see that video, unfortunately.
Well, the video didn't happen yet.
Right, because it's 1979. I'm assuming she just knows it will happen and therefore says, I need to carve a clay representation of Daredevil and just leave it in my apartment because that's normal. Of my boyfriend. Apparently they're in love or something.
I don't know.
Do they have? I don't know.
They kind of had a relationship. I don't know. Eventually he hooks up with other people.
Well, so does she, which is, I don't really put them together. I guess.
In the 70s, they were a thing. They had, his book was basically Daredevil and Black Widow. Was like the book.
Yeah, well, good for them.
Yeah, but he gets her. This is where he gets her with the
hairdryer.
The hairdryer. Fucking ganks her.
Yeah, he does. So and then he's like, I'm gonna leave this note here for Daredevil to find. So he has like a picture of Black Widow's face with a bullseye on it, and he just sticks it to the like mirror. Right.
Well, actually, it's not so much that he uses the hairdryer here. The hairdryer, you know, it's on the cover, but the real piece of this resistance is him dropping an entire chandelier on her.
Oh, that's right, the chandelier.
The chandelier comes
because he
down.
Hits her with the vase, and then he chokes her with the dryer, and then he knocks the chandelier down on her. Yes.
Yeah, it is a series of household events.
Yes.
But I guess the proper issue title is In the Hands of Bullseye.
Yes.
We start off with Matt.
And I don't know who this woman is.
This is, I forgot what her name is. Last name is Glenn. She's the father of this guy, this Deathstalker guy that died in the issue.
The daughter?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's she's the daughter.
Yeah.
Of this guy who died 2 issues prior.
Okay.
And she's upset with Matt, obviously.
Yeah. So because she knows he's Daredevil.
I think so.
Because they're like dating.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're at the cemetery. It is raining. There's also a bunch of people just watching them, which is weird because like Foggy's there and there's other people there too. I don't know.
Also, real quick, just two things I have to say about that. First of which, I like how they put all the credits.
Oh, on the tombstone.
On this monument here.
Yeah,
and it's just they fit everybody. It's like so all these people are in the tomb.
It's pretty cool.
They're all stacked up one on top of each other.
Yeah, nice.
But also like Foggy and all these people here. It reminds me of we were just watching Lethal Weapon 3 when like I'm not sure to laugh because it's not funny, but Danny Glover kills that friend of. Oh,
that's right. He shoots his son's friend or something. His son's friend. Yeah,
and he decides to go to the funeral for some reason.
Yeah, and the mom's all mad. The mom
slaps him.
Yeah,
and it's like it's this kind of, but he also brings like Riggs and like the whole fucking crew.
Yeah,
and it's like. The fuck is this?
Well, I mean, he can't even go to take a bath without everybody coming in. So of course he has to go to a funeral with 1 billion people.
Yeah, no, he's just accustomed by crowds. He has to have a constant swarm around him.
He does.
Yeah. So this guy was Maxwell Glenn. He was the Deathstalker. He is dead. Heather is this girl. Heather Glenn. She eventually comes back to do some stuff in her father's name and then dies.
All right, cool.
So that happens.
Nice. Yeah, so her and Matt are like whispering to each other. I'm assuming that's what those dash lines around the bubbles are.
They're whispering and
they're just talking about like really upset, obviously, and he's trying to help her. And then she
asks him, just like, look, are you
going to like keep being Daredevil? And he doesn't answer.
If you're not going to be, are you going to be, please tell me that when I need you and you're out there playing Daredevil and everything,
you'll be there.
You'll be there for me.
And he doesn't fucking answer
until she fucking smacks him.
Yeah, she gets mad. She's like, screw you, Daredevil, or, Matt Murdock, whatever.
She even calls him out and she's walking and it's so hardcore.
That's right. There's ice.
Has ice on it.
Yeah, she's so mad.
Kick some ice. My book is falling apart.
Yeah, I know. It was very difficult to read this one.
So we're trying to like pull it back so I can look at things, and
it just kind of broke the spine.
Like, no.
Yeah. So he goes to his apartment and he's like, man, I'm so sad.
Wait, does he have a statue of what is this back here? Do you see this statue?
I don't know what that is.
Is that Natasha?
I don't know. Maybe it's just a lady.
Or maybe if he's a Catholic boy, maybe it's some Mother Mary.
Well, I did see one at Home Goods today, and I seriously thought about buying it.
Nice.
And I was like, if I don't put a statue of the Virgin in my front yard, am I truly Italian? But I didn't buy it, obviously. So anyway, I don't know what he has, but he's talking about like, it's not Daredevil that he's like feels beholden to. It's really his father and like the weight of like having to do something good that his father like instilled in him that he's really fighting against, and he's like, or fighting for or whatever. And so he's like, oh, okay, it's time for me I'm going to go talk to my good friend Natasha. And what's really funny about this is I'm like, so if he didn't have a fight with his girlfriend in the cemetery, there is no reason for him to be like, I should go, to have a nice heart to heart with Natasha, and he'll never figure out that she's missing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she would just be dead.
It would just be like maybe he stops by like 3 months and he's like, oh no, she just got back in town.
I'm going to see a movie.
Yeah.
The Deer Hunter's playing.
Yeah.
Go see the Deer Hunter.
I'm going to go see the Deer Hunter, and maybe in like a couple, 2-3 weeks, I'll call her, see if she wants to grab a cup of coffee. You know what I mean?
Well, I think she would have found out sooner or later, more than sooner, because this whole thing with Bullseye is that he wants to kill Daredevil. So he captured her to call him out.
Right.
But it just happens that he's going to find out sooner.
I just think it'd be very funny.
No, then what? Yes.
If Bullseye's just waiting and Daredevil doesn't show up because he went to a movie.
Yeah.
And he doesn't show up for weeks because he, didn't fight with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
So anyway, he goes to the apartment. And he's like, oh no, Natasha's gone. This is bad. And it's Bullseye.
He uses his powers here. He finds out like there's blood around. He uses this.
And somehow he can like feel the imprint of the picture.
Yeah, because his touch is enhanced.
Yeah, but
his senses.
I understand that, but a picture doesn't, if it's like a picture from a camera or developed in a photo lab, it doesn't have like lines on it. It's just, you know what I mean?
But maybe there's some sort of impressions on there.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
If you touch something, he'll feel it.
Oh boy.
Daredevil.
Oh boy. So he figures out, he's like, all right, so I'm going to go to this bar. I'm going to go to every seedy establishment I can find and figure out if I can shake this loose.
Well, yeah, first he goes to Ben Urich, though, and he's trying to get information from Ben Urich. Ben Urich finds out that Bullseye escaped in the middle of like a session, like a.
Oh, that's right, the therapy session when they started talking about the dad. This is also very funny when he's talking to the reporter guy, because for some reason Daredevil's in the newsroom and he has a towel around his neck.
Yeah.
Like he just got done working out.
Yeah, why's he wearing this towel?
I don't know. It's just like he puts it around his neck as soon as he gets in the newsroom, like he's a fucking prize fighter going backstage or some shit.
He's like, man, I just did a fucking 30 burpees in the other room, man. I need a towel.
He's like, well, I just swung in. Whenever I come in here, I put on my towel.
Hot towels.
My sweat towel.
Hot towels at the Daily Bugle.
Yeah. It's very funny.
But yeah, Ben Urich explains that this incident happened. Bullseye uses this doctor's pipe to knock out a security guard. Did you see that?
It's pretty cool.
I enjoyed this.
He does Ben Urich does say, he's like, I'll tell you what I know about Bullseye if you tell me how long you've known Matt Murdock.
Right.
And he just goes, a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck that shit.
So we see how Bullseye escapes, whatever, but then we see how we cut back to the newsroom and Daredevil has Batmaned himself out of there, which means he just disappeared.
Uh-huh.
And then the newspaper guy takes out a folder, which has Daredevil's picture on it, but it's under M for Murdoch.
Well, because he's got
Dun, dun, dun.
because he's researching. There's obviously the connection to Matt Murdock and Daredevil.
Yeah. But I want this guy to figure it out.
He will.
I want him to figure it out. I want somebody to figure out these motherfuckers' identities.
I don't know. That one girl apparently found out pretty easy because she was just banging him. Maybe Ben Urich needs to
No, I mean, in fairness, like every girl who bangs
Get him on a
Batman, he tells them who he is. Remember that like Batman YouTube thing?
Yeah.
Where he was telling everybody who he was? That's literally what he does.
So Daredevil goes to this bar.
Yeah, well, he puts on like a trench coat and a newsboy, like a newsies cap, and he goes into this bar. And he like talks to some guy he's calling Stoolie,
Yeah.
trying to shake loose Bullseye.
He's trying to shake loose Bullseye, and in the midst of that, some guy sees him with because it's a bar full of ne'er-do-wells,
Yes,
and Daredevil's like, he's like, "You want to see the inside of my wallet? I got this much money."
pretty much.
You know, and a bunch of guys like, "Hey, look at those monies."
Yep.
So a big brawl kind of jumps out. You know, it breaks out here. And the whole time too, they're watching wrestling in the background. I don't know if you noticed this.
I didn't know if it was wrestling or boxing.
No, it's wrestling.
Oh, is it?
I can tell
Okay,
it's wrestling
cool.
because the way that they're
Describing it?
describing it. Yeah. Even
that's cool.
Even the wrestler's name is the Great Baba.
Oh, there you go.
So, we're talking WWF
Oh, wow.
1979.
Well, this would be New York. So is that the promotion that would be up there at that time?
Yeah.
When he mentions his name, everybody gets upset, and now it's time to fight. Like there's a bar fight, basically.
Yeah.
The entire thing turns into a bar fight. And this part, like, it's weird because Matt just like disappears in the middle of the fight and then reappears dressed as Daredevil.
Yep.
And I'm like,
But he put his clothes on the top of the ceiling.
yeah, but I'm like, why, dude? Like, Matt Murdock's gone and Daredevil appears. Like, just, you can kick ass when you're not in your Daredevil costume.
Right.
And it does look, he's like drawn like he's like dancing. He's very elegant.
This part here.
Yeah, when he's kicking people in the face, he looks like he's doing the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
Do 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 punch.
He's he's having a good time here, knocking these dudes out. His billy clubs flying everywhere.
Oh yeah.
But then he gets hit with a chair, and then he throws a guy out the window.
That was funny, actually, where he throws that guy out the window because there's like a homeless lady going like, oh dear.
It's like, oh shit. Oh, I better go away.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna get away from this crazy bar.
Yeah, but then this is where it says prologue, which is why it's confusing.
I was very confused. So I'm like, wait, did the fight happen before he went to the cemetery? But that doesn't make any sense.
The fight would have was epilogue, because the epilogue said it was when Daredevil Natasha got captured.
But he already knows she got captured.
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you guys mix this up?
I don't know what's going on with that because it didn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me.
No, but he says, "Look, if Bullseye wants to find me, tell Bullseye I'm looking for him.
Yeah,
I'm coming." And
we're gonna get into a slap fight.
Yeah. He's like, "Well, next month. Next month.
Yeah,
it'll be next time. It's the fight for the life of the widow." Daredevil stalks an island of death.
Nice.
Anyways, I look forward to it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it next week. I'm getting stuffed up.
Yeah, I can hear it.
So I think we're going to have to wrap this up. Once again, worstcollectionever@gmail.com. And find us on social media and rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and anywhere you get the show. And thank you for listening, folks. And we'll talk to you again next time.
Bye.